Playing this game again. I'm going to talk about something not so related to the last kind of. I'm trying to get on a different topic. That's what I'm going to try to do. See what is up with this engine place.
Watch out! Would you open your damn eyes?
Wah. No, yeah, never mind. Forgot I was talking. I had an inner monologue that was going over everything that was on the agenda of things. Oh.
You gotta watch out, fool.
Let's see here.
Oh shit. That's dumb luck right there. Nice drive. What the fuck?
I think there's red. Oh. I like to think that I'm smart. Other times, I think that I'm extremely stupid.
It's a hit. Move, move, motherfucker.
Dispatch to all available units. Rabbit 211 silent on an armored truck. Respond code 3. Suspect doing 50 miles per hour in a white Bravado sedan.
All right, dog.
That's really weird. Is like.
Officers report a reckless driver on Vassillate Boulevard in Pillbox Hill.
Damn, 5-0.
Can't see where the reticle is. God damn it.
Hey, you in enjoying yourself now, huh?
We have a visual on the suspect.
Units reporting 505 on San Andreas Avenue. And also...
Yeah! I win. I noticed there was no way for me to get out because there was people behind me, people in front of me. So I just threw the sticky bomb and left. And left as in got wasted. Oh.
Now stay calm, lady. Chill.
I want to basically show my intelligence, I guess. Show the ways that I'm able to, like, to see situations and then get out of those situations because they're detrimental to my health. I really wish that people themselves would stop trying to turn me into something that I'm not. But I mean, there are people that try and there are people that stalk you. So if ever they stop stalking, or if ever they find something that they're afraid of, to be able to stop stalking you, you know.
Man, that's dumb luck right there.
I'd always like to find out that they're like, oh my goodness, like I have a rolling conspiracy theory in my head that there are no reasons that everyone is on a set timer of being able to reproduce or being able to do certain things. Or not a set timer. Well, there's a set amount of people in the world, and people need to start realizing that. And the rest are like magical creatures. Because it might be true, you know? Because people are gonna start to get. I mean, people can act like there's like, oh my God, these people are mutants. It's like, no, they're probably magical creatures. And you fucking probably tried to force them into making them want to be like look more human. By like passing them through a female and a male of your own species. Yeah, boy, getting the motorcycle. Cycle. It's like I wonder when they stopped realizing that a certain part of life wasn't magical anymore. They're like, oh, I love this song. Now I love this song. I didn't like this song when I didn't like this song with my ex-wife liked this song. Yeah.
Get straightened out.
Yeah, I didn't like it when my ex-wife like this song because she whatchamacallit, she would sing it all weird, like she would body convulsely. She would like body convulse dance, and like it's like like that, like she's doing a, like she's dancing like an Egyptian or something like that. It was funny. It was really funny to look at, but I didn't want to say that I was laughing at her because I was trying not to be insensitive. It was funny. It was funny to me though, because, and I just said I didn't like the song because I thought it was hilarious when she used to dance like that. I didn't want to laugh at her though and have her not like the song anymore, because so I just kept my mouth shut. And that's probably the reason why I think that we didn't become the things that we became, I guess. Okay, it's a better one. It's a better one. Over time, I think I got more comfortable with her, and I think she got less comfortable with me. I didn't say that the relationship was completely and utterly just visceral or completely controlled by sex. I guess I've said that, but toward the end of it, that's basically what it was. It wasn't the only thing keeping us together. Like I was gentle, and she was gentle, and there were gentle parts about us both, I guess. But the relationship was lacking in something, and I didn't know what that was, and I...
Look me in the ass.
There wasn't a lot of give and take sometimes. There was either one person was giving and then that person was getting something for the day. It's like we were trading off, and I felt like it was more of like, it was like it's supposed to be a give and take. Like there was, I don't know. I haven't learned anything on the movies. I just know what it feels like to feel comfortable, and sometimes I didn't feel comfortable because of her insensitivity, or she would feel uncomfortable because of my insensitivity. And I felt it. I didn't really like. There were different things that happened because of us as a result. But it was just. But I have to say that through.
That hurt.
That stereotypical, oh, I don't love her anymore. I still care about her, you know? I still care absolutely about her. I just thought she was more funny than anything, and I thought that if I laughed at her or if I laughed around her, then she would think that I was being insensitive to her, because I knew that she had been taken advantage of sometimes in situations, and literally speaking of that. So I felt like I shouldn't laugh at her because of, I guess, and maybe that's the reason why I felt uncomfortable. Not uncomfortable laughing at her, but I felt uncomfortable laughing about certain situations or certain things that she found completely and utterly endearing. There are certain situations that I think traditional men and traditional women find completely in different ways. Like men think that certain things are found to be effort, to be put in effort, I guess. You put an effort for it, then it could be a trope or it could be cliche, I guess. And then traditional women think that, or traditional American women, and traditional American men think that there's some sort of traditional American men think, I guess, I mean, at least I think, I guess, because I'm not going to say that the traditional American men think that they're supposed to be a part of some sort of like clubhouse, I guess. It's just stupid to me. They're not traditional. Those people are are the traditional religious. They have to go somewhere to feel as though they're comfortable doing something. And I think that that's what happened to her, I guess, too. She was kind of put off the deep end as far as crash course into this is your world, and the world itself is basically yours for the taking, kind of. And like, I don't know, I think that I think that the biggest part of what we experience today as far as media goes is a mixture between people who have been half cocked by religion, and people who have been burned by religion. So like there's that, but also I think what happened with me and my, I like to say ex-wife, but she's still my wife on paper. And I think she's just doing it out of being comfortable, or out of staying comfortable, because we actually did have really good experiences. It's just, I think that she didn't know how I felt, like, and that's probably the reason why is I didn't laugh at things, or I didn't make her. I didn't make it known that I felt comfortable or uncomfortable in situations sometimes. And that's where I think the kind of like the careless sort of stuff in my own head started snowballing and turning into something else. I am schizoaffective, so sometimes I can make something out of nothing. And I do find it, and I do care about her, but I do also think that that she could have been more sensitive and more caring sometimes. But also, I mean, I also didn't really expect it from her, because I know what she had gone through, and I expected her to feel like she had to blame someone. Or I think that she didn't understandably know that she was blaming someone, but I guess that within the certain time that she was around me, she was blaming everyone, and I was just another person. I guess and it happens a lot when you start to realize that your religion is a lie. And you start to blame everyone around you, and that's what I did when I was like 6 or 7 years old, when I started to realize that all the stuff that my parents were saying, that was pretty much what they made up in their own head, or what they were told, basically, sometimes. So a lot of times I realized, though, that if there were good people in a certain religion or a certain place, then that those certain people would be more open to being able to help people instead of hinder them. In times of peace, it's a lot harder for religions to stay afloat and be able to. And I've noticed that because there's not something that they're constant evil, I guess, or constant being vigilant is helping, I guess, or is insinuatingly a part of any storyline or any narrative in real life. And then it seems like the religion itself is tied through wanting a narrative to have something that's evil, and it sounds like it's getting ready to do something like that. Like it sounds like it is, but we have to understand that the reason for most religions is because people themselves went through traumatic experiences. To learn to forgive and forget, or not to forget, but to forgive. but to forgive, basically. To be forgiving, and I think that that's the reason that I adopted the values of Christianity and other religions, I guess, but don't want the belief system. I'm very patient to a certain extent. I get angry, that's like everyone, I guess, but also too, it has more to do with my patience level sometimes. Has a lot to do with my my level of I did not think I was going to jump that at first, and then I did. Thought I was going to break it.
He jacked all my money! Hey, let's do this thing!
Dang it. I fucked up. I was gonna actually, I should have used a bazooka or something. Or a C4. I should have used a C4. But yeah, that's basically... I realized that when there were good people inside of a religion, inside of places where they know people need healing, or like not healing, but emotional support, basically. And that's what I think the reasons why they close sometimes the therapy places. I mean, the mine got closed exactly right after I left. And I do appreciate that amount of being able to do that, but there are certain people themselves that that wish and believe in a religion so much that they themselves can be the I don't know, they believe in people so much that sometimes they're hurt when a bad person comes along. And then they blame all of religion, or they blame all of that. But I realize that people themselves are going to interpret what they want to interpret whenever they want to interpret it. It's not that there was a bad person or bad people inside of the religion that I was in. Not knowing that there were or weren't. Not saying that there were or weren't, or insinuating that people themselves are by nature good or evil. But I think the biggest part was realizing that that there were more reasons to think about myself, and when I was thinking about what I had faith in. There were more reasons to believe in what I wanted to do with myself and how I wanted to do things, rather than someone who thought that realizing a dream was going to take them further than they could ever be, or that or further in a situation where they I don't know, they thought that it was like a situation that was better off to be
Suspect doing 60 miles per hour on a Red motorcycle.
To be held unaccountable, I guess. That's the reason why I think people think that people without religion or people with religion are different because of accountableness. Because there are examples in both ways of people in religion being unaccountable and people without religion being unaccountable. But they think that there's some sort of like norm, like people who believe in religion think that people who are without religion are mindless, or they think that they're better than everyone because they don't have a faith or something. Or people with religion or people without religion believe that all people with religion are in so much community that they sometimes don't see the bad that's in the community. Like there are certain people themselves that they'd say run societies out of churches because they don't know they don't know if it's any better than than believing in something, I guess, or believing in themselves. They have faith in, but they don't believe in other things, but they know what a probability is, or whatever they believe in the probability of peace. You know, which is weird because religion believes in the same thing sometimes. Sometimes, when other people get angry or their methods seem a bit hasty, I guess. There can be a belief in a sort of revelation of they believe that life itself never ends, but that in itself, you have to realize that religion and non-religion, people who don't believe in religion, sometimes believe in the same things without actually realizing it.
What the fuck?
It's like, okay, what the Bible could be talking about when it says it's going to cleanse the earth in Revelations. It could mean that it's going to take all the poison that's on everything. Like, if you get bitten by a certain animal in the wild, it won't poison you because all the toxins themselves have been relinquished. It means it will cleanse every animal as well as every person. It could mean that. Some people choose to believe that it means to cleanse the evil within the world. It means that all the things that you thought you were going to do, all the people who thought they were going to do bad things, aren't going to do bad things, or aren't going to be on this world because they were going to do bad things. Or, I mean, it's really hard to understand, but the more people that believe in sort of a theological interpretation of the Bible usually happen to come across, I don't get it, because there's no actual thinking about how a good person is. Like, it's not sometimes about what people do, it is about their intent. It's like, if someone saves your life to make you worship them, then I don't know why I did that, but if someone saves your life to make you worship them or to make you live for them, it is completely and utterly wrong in my book. Like, that person should not have to live for anything but themselves, but realize that someone had their back when they needed it most. And that's what I think society itself should have. People should have each other's backs in times of emergency or in times of fucked upness that people don't undoubtedly deserve. But I think that there's certain people who would go on the contrary and say that you don't know what that person did before they were persecuted by the people who were there or by the people who saw them do it. You don't know exactly what that person did or how they did it or the way that they did it, insinuating that that they are an evil person and deserve wickedness upon them, I guess. But there are certain reasons why people themselves start narratives that end or begin with something happening or someone being hurt, because it's so common sometimes. And even in today's world, it's still very commonplace. Only because of people themselves who think that if they fight a war that they don't see or that don't understand, out of independent action or independent realization or independent oh man, it's just there are so many reasons why people would call religion itself the devil, because to believe in religion is to also believe in, like, religion itself, I think, in my own opinion, it supersedes itself. If you believe in some sort of place that you can go to that is infinite, that everything is infinite within an a finite universe, then eventually you're going to start eating your own shit. Then eventually what you've eaten before has regurgitated, become what is it, microorganisms through your digestive system, planted life into that thing, into that earth or another earth where you believe you're going. And then that microorganism could be attached to a rock once it gets sent out into space, or pulverized or blasted or anything like that. Once there is a comet that comes from another place, people don't understand that those places and those things could be, they could have life. Like, comets that come down to Earth aren't just falling bullets and stuff like that, you know? There's so much stuff that I believe in, and so many different eventualities that can come from any possible amount of things. But I think that I don't want to, it's like whenever there's a pie you have, religion is the pie with the piece that's missing, and you yourself believe that someday you'll get that missing piece by ascending to a different plane of existence. But to believe in that pie that's incomplete, to believe in that thing that's completely and utterly incomplete, always, you will undoubtedly find that you are and will become an incomplete being as you evolve. And you will always have to have some sort of counterpart in order to be able to make something that is, I'd say, what, delicious as an amazing pie. You will always have to have someone to bounce your ideas off of. You will always have to have someone there around you to be able to make sure that you yourself aren't going without, aren't going with a certain composition of with or without a certain composition of notability or notoriety. It's within yourself. You created a symbol out of a person who may or may not have existed. And within that symbol, you create a pattern of indulgence. That pattern of indulgence, which means that you find whatever person you see to be that person, to be that thing who exhumes all of those qualities, but without having all the supernatural abilities. So basically, through believing in a religion, you create false deities. Through believing in a religion and then realizing that it's false or a falsehood, you create false deities, and then that within itself starts to realize that if there are more people themselves on this earth than there are people in the Bible, obviously, or even writers of the Bible, you have to understand that those situations or patterns can emerge in people in so many different situations, that people of notable qualities that exhume confidence or any kind of righteousness, I guess. And also with those patterns of righteousness, you start to believe or see.
You think you own the road, don't you? You peddling pricks.
A certain amount of but also I have a biased opinion as well, because my opinion is that all religions themselves only wish to heal. No matter what they've believed, or no matter what they see in a person that they see outside of their own world, or their own religiously expective perspective. You'll all start to see that there are people themselves who wish not to be seen or heard. You'll also find that there are people themselves who, without any belief system or any form of faith in themselves or anything, just realizing that a certain situation needs to go on, or needs to happen, or doesn't need to happen. You'll start to realize that form-fitting, that religion itself created the meek. And though they say the meek shall inherit the earth, it means the people that religion created and started to change because of it, but didn't believe in it, are the ones who will inherit, because they are the ones, or the true ones without any sin, because they don't believe it. So, like I said, within every religion there is a truly enveloping, like within Hinduism, there are so many different deities, basically, that you can believe in, but you have to be from a certain region. To me, that sounds like a gang mentality. To believe that there are certain people that, or certain things that have different qualities that all exhume the same existence, but if you are from a different region of India, you have to believe in a certain thing. You have to believe in a different god, or else in some cases you're shunned by your own people. Or in Muslim war, Islamic, there's a system of knowledge, of the surrounding area or around the world, basically. That in itself creates a system of people who want to wants to explore the world. But within it, sometimes you'll never find the ways to conserve. They believe sometimes that they must exhume the in the purest form of a religion, not in the people who practice it today. And these are all like realizations that have actually happened and happened to be because of certain people really religiously believing in something differently, I guess, or cultivating an idea that they thought might actually I don't know. It's just, there are so many different religions, and there are so many different people that believe in so many different religions. They believe in a certain trade or certain thing. People believe in what they're gonna believe in, and that's what I think. That's what I believe. I don't believe in any religion because I don't believe that first and foremost, before any deity or anything forgives me, I must forgive myself. And before any some sort of goddess that I come up with in my own mind and forget myself, I don't forget myself. I really don't. I believe that all those people who believe in certain things and believe that those things are right to them, because through the realization of force and idiocy, religion realized, and also many religions realize, that to force your beliefs or any of your deities onto other people, God damn it, to force your deities on any group of people who don't want it, become your enemy, basically. And within, there are certain formats of belief. You have to understand that there are people that don't believe in certain practices of faith because it forced them to do something that they didn't want to do. There are people out there that believe in those things and believe in themselves first because of the fact that a faith tried to decide their fate, when in actuality they themselves decide their fate, and they don't want anything else deciding their fate other than them. You have to understand that those people are us. Everyone who decides our own fate. We start to realize that more so we don't practice our faith, and even if we do, we practice it willy-nilly and the way we want to. But the most I can really say about any religion that decides to call itself something, I'm gonna go to thing. Within any religion that decides to call itself something or decides to follow a certain order of things, there is always someone in that order that does not want it, fully does not want it. Within every order of things, people will realize that there is no order, there is chaos, and we make the order that is plainly seen. but don't realize that there is just chaos, that there is other people's versions of order. There are other people's versions of order, and those versions of order maybe mimic a certain way that we are because of the things that we all go through. But when that order decides to hinder us in a certain way that we cannot fully understand because of the fact that we see it plainly as day, because we see it within our minds, and we see the fact that we can change that thing within our minds if we practice at it hard enough, if we do something about it, and if we change the outcome. People believe that they have to give all of their glory or all of their self-confidence, because people do exude self-confidence in religion, but they always push it up and believe that it comes from a certain thing, from a collective, and that in itself is the formings of a cult. When you don't believe in a god anymore, but you believe that collective itself pumps energy into you whenever so it needs be. That is using other people. That's basically using the energies of other people to be able to exhume your own. That's a cult. It's a cult. Believing that there are certain energies that people give each other. And there have been episodic examples of hallucinations, group hallucinations, because of everyone believing the same thing and drinking from the same cup of something, or people tapping LSD into the water supply, and people have done this before. They have done it because of the facts that to get an order, to get a faith, to get a piece of something, to get a piece of life out of something. Really realize that there is not a fine line between a cult and religion. There is a very clear stance that invariably if there is a cult, there is also room for abuse, there is also room for degradation, and there is also room for oh wait, there's no, yeah, they're coming. There is also use for abuse, there's also room for degradation, there's also room for a whole bunch of different kinds of things, because that is when a religion itself becomes a cult. When that which was used for healing, when that which was used for emotional support is now used for emotional degradation, emotional gain, or even monetary gain. I'm not talking about merchandise or any sort of thing to be able to sell, because the Bible itself is a merchandise. And what it does is it funds a museum, usually. So for the most part, people that want to become a museum, that want to become their own private economy, have to understand that that private economy has to exist in a certain country. That certain country has a place that you would call a thing. It's called the Vatican, and we have hefty friendships with them. But you have to truly and very what's the word? Invariably understand that if the people themselves within a certain clause or within a certain place are the change from a religion, or are the thing that which they decided to go up against. And that's the reason why now is you can't blame people for things sometimes. You have to forgive them immediately. Because what it does is blaming people constantly and keeping them away from you constantly. What happens and what it does is it doesn't eat you up inside or do anything like that. What it does is it creates a wall between you and the world. People say in the Jehovah's Witnesses that you shouldn't become worldly. Okay? Now I believe in a variation of that. And a variation that you should not become the media you see. You should experience the media you see. You should not become the world around you, because if you become the world around you, it will take millions and billions and trillions of years for it to ever come to fruition, or anyone to ever land on it. It's assuming that it would be actually close to anything being capable of life. Within those rites, they don't acknowledge many prophets. They acknowledge Jehovah. They acknowledge themselves worshipping the thing that brings them life. Jehovah. That's the difference between people who are good to their kids and realize that one day their children themselves will be running a planet or running some sort of thing. No matter what kind of part or their children themselves become, they'll be running something. They will be doing something amazing, and they should honestly support them every single day that they can. It's the reason why they don't believe in birthdays or Christmas or anything like that. They believe that they support their children 24/7, 7 days a week. But if they are ever to hinder their children, or ever try to hinder their children, then they will be stripped of that responsibility and cast out from that religion. Because that's what happens in Jehovah's Witnesses. Because they are an extremely honorable people. They very much are. When they practice a well-endowed faith. They are not a club. But when they threaten or when they say things are happening because of a certain Jehovah company coming back, understand that Jehovah's don't believe in the second coming. They believe that they must be exhumedly, understandably. They believe in a heaven that Jehovah himself runs. And they believe that within that behavior, or within the behavior that they exhume, they will go to that kingdom, and they will be at that kingdom. There is no kingdom come. There is kingdom go. So, within all of those qualities, between every single religion that ever existed, there is an honorability of self. Within every religion that does not form as a cult, or form as using other people. Because you can believe in whatever you want to believe in. Oh my god, that thing just gave me freaking... Oh! That falling situation just gave me shivers. Woo! Anywhoots. Realizing through every religion, no matter which one exists in your region, or no matter what exists in your public domain, or anything like that, realize that if they are trying to exhume or bring about any sort of kingdom come, realize that they are a cult. And the American government, and I know this for a fact, that the American government does not support any terrorist groups, does not support any cults, and does not support any behavior that it means that to say that you're better than another person. We're a pretty good country. We're a better country when it comes to telling people how we feel and the way we feel about it. But not to say we don't have our problems. And those problems themselves are people's natural ability or natural want to be around or see something that they like. To be out of your comfort zone is our biggest problem. That's it. To be out of our comfort zone and to take in a different culture. Or to realize a different culture through the adaptation of different things. To realize that even though a person exists within a culture, that they themselves can be who exactly they feel like being whenever they want to be it. They could be on that phone 24/7 as much as they want to. They can all of a sudden get cancer because they smoked cigarettes as well as being on that phone, because there's no actual proof that phones give you cancer. Saying that, for example, people also need to understand that, I'm gonna shoot that tank. Let's see if I can make it into, oh man. You can't put your name in the gas tank before it explodes because it only will undoubtedly explode the more you try to shoot it. I just realized that. But yeah, that's what happens to people sometimes when they see bad people, or even their own parents in religion sometimes, if their parents are abusive. I still care about my so-called separation of my wife. I still care about her very, very much, and I hope her and wish her the best. But I wasn't the person, or am not the person, who can give her the kind of stuff that she obviously needs. And she cannot undoubtedly be that same person for me, because she told me to do art in the shed, and I didn't feel like it because there were spiders in the shed. Realize that if you're with someone, when you're with someone, you have to be supportive, and also supportive. Like, so much supportive. Be supportive, and there we go. Awesome.
Suspect last seen west of the Cluckenbelt factory.
There we go.
Units reporting shots fired at an officer west of,
I already have 4 stars. Badass.
Dispatch, they're in a car.
Yes, notice this game is called GTA. It is the nature of this game by is a very contrary thing to what I'm actually saying. But you know what? That's the reason why. Is if you feel as though this game is in some way stopping you from experiencing the full vigor of realization, then in some ways you're hindering yourself. In some ways you're realizing that these situations can happen, and you allow them to happen. Because of your realization, because you are an individual.
Chile's mountain state wilderness.
And that is the reason for cohesion and cooperation. And the reason why you should never take on your demons or monsters alone. It's the reason for people trying to say that there's some sort of reason for God damn it. For everything that happens, and hopefully we see the reason. But whenever there's something that happens, people are like, oh my god, I can't believe this happened. They don't have a reason. There are also reasons to be able to heal. Always reasons to be able to want to believe, and some omnipotent being that makes sure that everyone gets their due. But there are also reasons to believe the contrary. Because if we were actually under the thumb or thumbnail of someone who believed or not believed in us, then art wouldn't come about. Creation wouldn't be involved. There would be no creation, or no need to create, if creationism ever existed. To me, and in my own opinion. That's realization. That's the realization, is the fact that not bad or good things would happen. Because bad and good things would continue to happen, depending upon what people did up to appease or not appease their God. But to believe that within itself that there would be no need to be able to go out and have a job or go out and do something completely and utterly just out of your comfort zone because of you wanting to be able to experience something out of the norm. That would be at your doorstep constantly, all the time. That would be completely at your doorstep, just sitting and waiting for you. And you know what? It wouldn't be a pamphlet. Ever. It will be someone waiting there in a chair, waiting for my salvation. Or waiting for the person there, sitting there, constantly, just sitting there. There'll be someone in a chair, and they'd be sitting there outside my own personal door, which I haven't gotten yet, because I only stay at someone else's house. It'd be someone sitting in a chair saying, not saying, have you thought about God? But do you think God has thought about you? Or wouldn't even talk about God at all, because God will be known everywhere. The God itself it is envisioned in everyone's mind would be singular and omnipotent, rather than being some lion or lioness sort of being. He would be completely and utterly omnipotent. He would be the same thing in everyone's mind. He or she would be the same thing in everyone's mind, completely and utterly there all the time, ready and waiting for them to actually go through whatever they went through, or however they went through it. And if they actually went through it, would it be that God's fault? Would that God have experienced those same tragedies and triumphs in their last life? Because who knows how many lives a God has ever, or even ever, wanted to exist with, or in. To question God himself, if God ever was to exist, or even not exist, because I do not believe in him. Even if he does exist, I don't believe in it. Still don't. I don't believe in it because I believe in myself. And no matter what, I'm never going to. Because he didn't make me. He didn't make me because he wouldn't make me so undoubtedly disagreeable. He wouldn't make me that. He wouldn't make me disagreeable. He wouldn't make me able to experience pain. He would make me like those robots they see on TV. Or people see on their TV constantly. Or people make in their own rooms. Or in their own... I don't make them because I'm not an idiot. I know that within the city limits I can't have a certain amount of power sources and things like that. Because it would cause a lot of explosions, and the only person that would probably appease is Charlie Manson. Or the Unabomber, because he would want to explode something, or try to explode something, or try to make me explode something. And I'm not saying that he's some sort of omnipotent being, but I'm saying that it would appease him if he ever heard about it. Understandably so, I don't feel like appeasing a stupid criminal. Because that's why they got caught, because they're stupid, and they're stupid criminals. Because criminals are stupid, and criminals get caught because they're stupid. That's what happens. So, the more you try to theorize about the likelihood of a Messiah coming or not coming, the more you start to realize that the Messiah itself, or the envisioning of the Messiah itself, started to hinder what you thought, or who thought, or why they thought, or why even anyone thought of anything. The reasons for you accepting your family and accepting the people around you, and realizing that those people themselves love you undoubtedly, without question. Would you ever let them down to appease someone that's a million miles away? In a galaxy far, far away? Because that's the whole storyline of Star Wars. It's all Christianity. And it's completely terrible. And just so bad. There's so many different tropes of Christianity in it. It's so bad. It's so bad. There's so many bad Christianity. It's just all Christianity. It is so much Christianity. There is every story in the Bible in Christianity. There's just every story about that. There are so many different accounts of every single one of those stories that I myself don't believe in it by default. So, I don't like religion because in its beginnings it believed it had enemies. Now it believes it can forgive anyone because of those enemies being stronger than them. Because those enemies have guns and they don't. That's the reason why. Okay? That's the reason why. And mind you, the Pope and the Vatican were all mafia. Were all a specific and utter mafia, a cult, in their early days. And then they changed their ways somehow. They changed their ways. So realize, every single time, if you were ever to believe in something that is what you believe is realistic, realize that that something can be your enemy. Realize that that word itself can be your end sometimes, because of what somebody says, or because of what somebody agrees with or disagrees with. But always realize that as long as the Constitution stands, it'll always be free to be able to say your own opinion, no matter how fucking stupid it sounds in America. But if you act on it, they will come down on you with the highest form of law. And I don't mean the holy trinity coming down and judging you. No, I mean raining down bullets, and those can judge you after you're done, whatever you're doing, whenever your spirit moves on to the next world. Because I don't believe in death. I believe in forgiveness, but I don't believe in death. And I'm gonna go explode something. Woo! Doop doop doo 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 doo. I'm doing J. J. Dang it! Wasn't able to get the J. Seize 'em. Alright, got a car. And also realize that the aliens are real. Like, there is no point in acting like aliens aren't real. I mean, if they want to change themselves, then they can be adopted or not adopted, or I don't know. The childbirth is a lie. Remember that. It's an evolutionary trait that we all share. And no matter how what comes out looking like, it's a new life. It's a new life. We don't recycle life on Earth. I'm sorry. We recycle, what is the word? Plastic and newspaper. But we don't recycle life. And there is no lake of fire. There's just a pit, and it's usually near somewhere in Italy, somewhere, or say, or Arabia, or in an area where people believe in religion, so they make it fire, or they think that. And also too, that's what happens when a lot of times things are set on fire with the sun. Things set on fire more. Sometimes you think that things aren't gonna set on fire more, and you're like, oh, there's got to be a cooling to go happen. It's like, no, when the sun sets things on fire, it sets things on fire more when it's setting things on fire. It still sets things on fire to this day, even so much so. And people can use even though they don't believe in it, as a dummy place, as in like the Umbrella Corporation sort of thing. They want to become a museum, like that whole thing. Like, nah, you can't become a museum because you hurt people and you decided you were going to use guns against people that didn't believe in your religion. You know, it's like, hey, forgive, but don't ever forget. Don't ever forget. Don't forget it. Do not forget. It's really easy to figure out that things went completely and utterly south for people who decidedly did not want that to happen. And there have been more people killed by the Vatican Church and by the Pope in standing, not just in the person that is right now, than there have ever been killed in the amount of Hitler's armies or Stalin's regime. Granted, if those people deserved it or not, I don't know. I have no idea. I wasn't born then. I don't know. I have no idea. I have no clue. I can find out though, eventually. And then I'll know not to trust a religion ever because of the amount of bullshit that it's actually talked about and said and never come through with.
Western Fort Zancudo.
But that's cool, man.
You have entered Fort Zancudo airspace. Divert immediately.
Son of a bitch. There's such bullshit going on this video game. I think it gets harder as you go along in the missions. I think, you know what? I'm at an hour and 16 minutes. I'm gonna head on out. I'm gonna stop doing this because what? That's awesome. But yeah, that's basically what you need to calm down with. Realize that whatever kind of person is in our religion, there are people who are good, and there are people who want to take advantage of other people. Whether they take turns, or whether that's a situation that's happened and they believe a certain thing, it's all just bullshit because I don't believe in it. They can believe in it, but to me, it's just bullshit. Because people themselves have been lying about certain things that have been happening for centuries. So why wouldn't they lie some more about it? You know? Why would they forgive people who've done sins? Whatever. You can forgive all you freaking want. There's still people out there that you've wronged, that you have to apologize to. Not just people who were gay, but people who were like 2 years old when you set their entire village on fire, then said it was a volcano. You know, that kind of stuff. That's it. I'm done. Pompeii, right? Alright. That kind of stuff. That's all. Have a good day and enjoy enjoy lots of stuff because stuff and things. You know? You can defuse situations before they happen. You can make sure people are informed. If you see something, say something. But you don't have to say something then. You can say something to the proper authorities on the phone, in a corner somewhere, or in a cubby hole somewhere where that person who is doing that terrible thing cannot see you. Be better. Be helpful. And don't be an asshole. It means don't be the back part of the donkey, you know? You know? Don't be that part. Have a good day. And this is Joe Bomb Squad Game Therapy Rants. I am schizoaffective also. So my concept of what's real and what's not are just warped. You know? Have a good day.